Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to a main break show. We've been away for a couple of weeks, but the planets have aligned, and we're back on this week to watch a pretty tight tussle between the Adelaide Crows and the Melbourne Demons. Adelaide certainly haven't had it their own way up until half-time and squandered a few opportunities. Melbourne playing a tight game and keeping it pretty hard in close and not allowing the Crows to run. Our half-time score is 6 goals, 743 to Adelaide. Melbourne 5 goals, 333. Half-time margin of 10 points after the Crows managed to get it out to 4 goals at one stage. Don't forget, if you're listening in on the Spreaker app, you can join us on chat. If you're listening on the web, it's Spreaker.com/users/AFL Crowcast. You can chat to us via the browser. And tonight, if anyone's feeling game and needing a vent, we're also on Skype. You can Skype in at BF Crowcast. So let's have a look at some of the stats until half-time. And it's not pretty reading for the Crows, really. It's one of those games where you expect Adelaide, particularly after breaking free after the first quarter, you'd expect them to have pushed along a little bit in that second quarter. But the head-to-head stats are very even. We had 209 to 207 disposals, both teams handballing far more than kicking, and that's probably indicative of the fact that both teams, particularly Melbourne, are getting players behind the ball, and the opponents are having to work their way through pretty heavy traffic via handball. Marks are even, 38-37. Adelaide's tackle count again down 37 to 44. Would like to see that tackle count get into the black in the second half. Sources monstering Pedersen in the hitouts, 43 to 14, but we're not getting value for it. Combination, I believe, of them setting up defensively in the middle and roving to Source. And also our blokes, Matty Crouch in particular, doesn't seem to be able to read Source's palm very well. Invariably finds himself out of position, and that's something they're going to have to continue to work on, because Source is winning easily and they should be able to read his taps, but for whatever reason that's not happening. Freezer even. Disposals per goal, both sides spending a lot of time chipping the ball around, so disposals per scoring shot, pardon my phone, pretty high. 16 to Adelaide, 25 to Melbourne. Inside 50s, Adelaide 27 to 21. And aside from that, everything's pretty even, I should say, across the board. We've got some contested possessions, 82 to 79, so that's pretty even. Uncontested, 124 to 128, that's pretty even. Both sides running at around about the 70 to 71 disposal efficiency. Clunger's fairly high. We've taken a few more contested marks. Marks inside 50 are fairly even. Clearances are spot on even. Rebound 50s are relatively even, 15-18, 1%ers even, and that's really the tail of the tape. It's a very close tussle. G'day to Vardy, Jason and Valus on the chat. Let's see, what have we got here? Vardy's cold and frustrated. J-Mac reckons D-Mac's got to go. Yeah, JJ needs to be dropped to find form. I don't disagree with you there, Valus, although I thought he started to find a little bit of the ball in the back end of the second quarter. I do agree with what J-Mac said here, too much showboating style. I think as it's something like that, J-Mac, but I think our players just don't know how to get dirty. And when the ball isn't being played on a string, or when the ball isn't flowing freely, our blokes just seem to lose all desire to roll up their sleeves and get dirty. There's blokes that aren't straight lining the ball for the second week in a row. Tex Walker's driving me crazy because he just continually wants to push and shove and try and work his opponent under the ball and, all that sort of stuff. And I just want to see him, attack the footy and actually, just get front position and not worry about his opponent. And just take a couple of grabs. That first handball in the first quarter over his left shoulder was indicative of how Tex is playing at the moment. He's not doing the little things well, and everyone's just trying to pull off the freaky. And I really think that we need to go back to playing basic football. Tom Lynch is another one who continually tries to do the low percentage. And more often than not gets found out simply because he's not good enough to be able to do that sort of stuff. Anyway, let's look at some individual stats. And not surprisingly, Rory Laird has been the leading possession winner for us on the ground. Lairdy with 22 disposals, 9 kicks and 13 handballs. And I just felt like... our whole back six, led by Laird, and also I reckon Hartigan, have done an excellent job, and Brodie Smith's getting involved, rebounding on halfback as well. Lairdy, 22 disposals, 4 marks, he's kicked a goal, hasn't laid a tackle, but he's been extremely good. 6 contested possessions, going at 86.5%. Couple of rebound 50s, I thought... he's led the back six, and he seems to be back to his composed best. I haven't seen any of those rushed disposals that have got him into trouble. Matt Crouch has battled manfully, seems to be matched up with Nathan Jones more often than not. He's had the 14 touches, 6 and 8, taken a mark, a couple of tackles, 3 inside 50s. That running shot on goal from 40 metres out, most elite midfielders would have kicked that goal with their eyes shut, and the fact that he didn't even make the distance is a real indictment on Matty's disposal, and he has to do better than that. Tellingly, he's only had the 2 contested possessions, so he's obviously getting out-muscled by Nathan Jones in close, but he's been able to get the ball outside a little bit, and his disposal efficiency... as for most of the team, is up this week, 78.6%. Look, I thought Brad Crouch has tried. He's only had the 3 kicks and the 10 handballs for 13. He's only laid the 1 tackle. He's had the 1 inside 50, the 8 contested possessions, which is good, running at 77%. 3 clearances. Throw my phone away. 3 clearances. It's been an almost game from Bradley, I reckon. He was almost breaking the game open at one stage there in the second quarter. Had a little run of possessions, but he's faded out again. He looked laboured when he ran, and Velus reckons he's carrying an injury. I wouldn't be surprised. Velus, he on the outer wing there, when it was a one-on-one chase, he looked very hampered in his running style. But he's out there, so he's fit. Rory Atkins has done all right on the outside, 7 and 5 for 12 disposals, couple of marks, 2 tackles, which is good, couple of inside 50s. Look, I thought Brodie's done well, 7 and 4, rebounding well off half-back, and he leads the inside 50 count with 4. And he's also had 4 contested possessions, so he's going right off half-back. In fact, our whole back six is doing pretty well. Lukey Brown with 3 and 7, a couple of marks, and some really good defensive work. I thought Kyle Hartigan has actually been our most solid big man, although Tales has done all right as well. Both of those guys have had just under the 10 posies, a couple of marks each. Troy Menzel's an interesting one. Troy is also having an almost game. I've really liked his endeavour. He's definitely trying to get involved. He's trying to, create, and his defensive work inside forward 50 has been excellent. But he's just not finishing off his work at the moment. But a lot to like in Troy Menzel's game, and if he continues to go in hard for the ball and apply defensive pressure, then eventually the rest of it will come, although that shot on goal was horrendous, and for a bloke who's supposedly got so much talent, I just don't understand how he can't even kick a goal from 45 metres out straight in front. Tommy Lynch has done all right as our link man, although he's been a bit airy-fairy at times. He's taken the 3 marks to go with his 8 posies, but he's had 3 clangers, and that's indicative of what I was saying. His disposal efficiency is 62.5%, which isn't acceptable, and he needs to go back to basics, Tommy Lynch. The other one, David Mackay. He's going at 42.9% disposal efficiency and only 7 disposals to half time. Taking a couple of marks, a couple of tackles, but we need more from D-Mac on the outside because there's other blokes that could do a better job. Sloaney is getting hammered again, 3 and 4 for only 7 posies. He's laid the 5 tackles, so he's working hard, 3 inside 50s. But his output inside the contest has certainly been down over the last couple of weeks as he's been carrying some hard tags. And we've got to work out a way to free Sloaney up. And I'm only watching it on the TV, but I haven't seen a lot of effort in giving Sloaney clear passage. And he's only going at 28.6% disposal efficiency, which is just shocking, and shows that he's under a fair amount of pressure. 4 clangers. Leading the clanger count for those that are playing Game of Crows. Just on that, a clanger count update. Atkins has 3, Hampton has 3, Tommy Lynch has 3, Rory Sloane has 4, Eddie Betts has 3. Betts has been quiet as well, and Betts is another one who likes to do the magical, but I'd like to see Eddie just roll up his sleeves and get his hands dirty and do the 1%ers and just the little things and just play. I think we just need to get back to playing the percentage game. We try to be too cute going in forward. With our ball movement, our transition work, we try to be too cute. We've been given one too many gives, or we lack creativity and we're just kicking up and down the lines. It's been a bit of both, and neither has really worked that effectively. That said, Melbourne are playing a pretty decent game. They're certainly trying hard inside the contest. They're certainly playing the blueprint of how you beat the Crows by crowding up the contest, cracking in. Jack Viney, Nathan Jones doing very well for them. Hibbert also doing very well for them. Hibbert with 21, Salem with 17, Jack Viney with 16, Jordan Lewis with 15, coming off halfback quite a bit. I've noticed Jordan Lewis, Nathan Jones with 13. They're doing pretty well. They just don't have enough talent up forward to convert, really. What have we got here on the chat? We've got Vardy saying Hampton trying to do too much. I agree with you there, Vardy. He's getting a bit of it. But again, he's another one of these players that's just not doing the percentage stuff. He's just trying to do too much, be too cute. He's had 6 and 4 for 10, but again, only going at 60% disposal efficiency, and that's often because he's selling himself into trouble. American Crow, thanks for joining us all the way from Cleveland, mate. Short of kicking goals for them, anything else we can do to help the Demons? Yeah. That's exactly right. We certainly are doing everything we can to keep them in the game at the moment, which is disappointing. But look, it's better than last week. We expected a response from after last week, but I think it would have been unrealistic to expect Melbourne not to come out and play a similar style of game to North Melbourne, and they've certainly done that. Look, second half, I think we appear to have the game in control. However, we certainly let them back in the back half of that second quarter, and that's going to give Melbourne a little bit of confidence. If Melbourne can actually start to convert some of their opportunities and take a couple of marks up forward, we're not going to have it all our own way. We need our forwards to start functioning a little better. I'd like to see Tex attack the ball. I'd like to see Josh Jenkins actually get a touch. And I'd like to see Eddie do the front and square. Stop trying to do the magical and just do what you're there for, mate, which is to be a small forward at the front of a pack. Same with Charlie Cameron. Apart from that, I think our defence has definitely kept us in it. Our midfield are working manfully and breaking even. But, we've just, Richie Douglas at 60% DE, Hampton at 60% DE, Tex Walker at 58% DE, Charlie Cameron at 60% DE, Jenkins off his limited opportunities 60% DE, D-Mac at 42, Sloaney at 28. We're just turning the ball over far too much. Menzel at 66, Jake Kelly at 66. We just need to be using the ball better, and it's what we seem to do when we're under this sort of pressure is we lose composure, we lose our shape, and it starts to get messy, and we need to find a way to overcome this sort of game, because this is the sort of game that we're going to cop from here on in. American Crow reckons Rory needs to get over the being tagged thing. Yeah, I don't know whether it's getting over it, AC. I just don't think he's actually got the strength to break a tag. And in Aussie rules, the best way to break a tag is to get your teammates involved. And a bloke like Curtly Hampton needs to be blocking for Sloaney. We've got a couple of blokes, Charlie Cameron, Curtly Hampton, even a Matty Crouch. He needs to be blocking. These guys need to be blocking for Sloan to free Sloan up. But as I said last week, Sloaney also needs to use his gut running, because there's not many taggers that will be able to go with him for 4 quarters. And I haven't seen a hell of a lot of Sloaney up forward or deep back, and I'd like to see him just start running up and down the ground and just see if he can burn off. Certainly Vince might be bigger, but he hasn't got the legs, and that's, I think, where Sloan's got to use his God-given abilities, and that's his tank to get Bernie off his back. So second half, in a nutshell, I'd like us to see our midfield reading source a little bit better. I'd like to see us maintain our composure and our shape, and try and work the ball outside rather than just kicking and hoping. Up forward, I'd like to see us present. I'd like to see Tex present. And I think as long as we do that, the game is pretty much ours. But as I said to everyone earlier, if Melbourne get a sniff with a couple of goals and they start taking a couple of marks inside forward 50, then we've got a game on our hands, and it's going to get a little bit slippery later, and it might not be an easy game to overcome a deficit if we're down in the last quarter. Anyway, guys, it looks like the footy's just about back to start, so thanks very much for joining me on the chat. I look forward to talking with you all with Nikki and Macca tomorrow night on the Wrap Show, and hopefully we're talking about a win. So if you're at the ground, stay warm. If you're at home, have another beer or whatever it is that you're drinking, and let's see if we can run this one out. See you guys.